Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I am Silver the Hedgehog here and I'm back for some more of yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Rayman, Raving Rabbids for the Nintendo Wii / PlayStation 2 and also for the Xbox 360. So yeah, last time I believe that we did manage to tackle through day 6 and day 7. Despite I did have some mixed feelings on day 6, and I did have pretty much a decent time on day 7. So today, we're about to begin through the next day in this game, which appears to be day number 8, and eventually after we're done with day 8, then we can move on to the forms of day 9, and I think that's as far as we can able to say for this point when it comes to today's video. So either way, as you can see on screen, I recently changed into a different outfit for a change, because I was originally trying to go for, you know, the normal Rayman costume, but I've managed to discover that since whenever I did manage to do this off screen for a bit and managed to capture footage for a little bit, and now I managed to find out the new costume that we can able to try out. So either way, let's go ahead and deal with the, of course, some more mini games. So let's go with the first one on day number 8. So let's see what we got this time. We got Bunnies Never Close Doors Part 2. Oh boy, we have to go for this minigame again. Except now it just makes things a little bit difficult for us because now, in addition to able to actually just to deal with the forms of another flicking the nunchuck kind of scenario, but also be very careful when there is like bunnies or rabbits scattered around, because if you accidentally slapped one right there, you instantly lose. So either way though, be very careful and make sure you need to able to aim for the amount of doors as we could. So either way, I'm pretty sure we need to aim for 40 seconds, I'm pretty sure, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure back in the forms of in, let's just say in part 2 or something like that, but I've managed to able to, well we did manage to done this before, but at least even then, except the fact that in that particular emphasis on part 1, that we have to able to close the doors within like 50 seconds, which took about long enough until during the forms of in part 1. Thankfully in part 2 it does manage to decrease the amount of seconds we can able to go through, because this time we need to aim for 40 seconds as opposed to 50, which I totally appreciate that, because as you can see on screen, I'm actually having ourselves an easier time on this minigame this time around, and then when we aim for 40, boom, we can move on to the next minigame. So thank goodness for that, and even though it only took me about 2 attempts, unlike the forms of the schizophrenic attempts during the forms of the first part. So yeah, that's how it usually goes when it comes to stimulations and stuff. So a few things we want to explain about this actually is the fact that today's day is the forms of 29th of February today in 2020, so that means we have a leap day today. Not much else has been going on for this point, but either way though, let's move on to the next minigame. So next up we have Bunnies Can't Slide. So in 3 rounds, get closer than 7.50 meters from the center, and don't forget to take the account Rabbids from the actual, yeah, just trying to able to get closest to the target. So okay, if you couldn't tell already, this is my 10th attempt doing this, because I swear to god, this minigame is so luck-based at times, especially if you play this with computer players. And as a result, you have to be damn close to the actual target, which, from the looks of the standpoints though, it's like curling, except, well, you don't have like 4 stones in the forms of those rounds. So instead, we have to able to actually, you know, need to be super accurate with the actual aiming shot, because if you're trying to aim it in the exact point, then, well, you would pretty much guarantee to able to actually get close to it. My only advice though, try to do the shortest amount of that adjustment, as you can see on my red pointer right there, because that way you get into the actual target no problem. So either way, I highly recommend you don't utilize the stronger aiming, because otherwise you'll be bumping back and forth, and then chances are there might be a pretty extra chance that you might able to get further away from the actual target, or at the same time that you let the opponents try to get closest to the target instead. So either way, that's my total advice for that part. So even then though, it took me 10 attempts on that specific minigame, like 9 of them from cut off screen, because I don't feel like trying to show you guys or trying to sift through for those failed attempts. if you try to able to actually just to see me trying to fail miserably in certain minigames. So that's how it goes basically, but thankfully though, on the 10th attempt though, I did manage to able to succeed. So now we're going to move on to the next minigame, which is bunnies have natural rhythm. So basically get rid of all of the bunnies in less than about a minute or something like that. Which either way though, I do apologize for that specific text reading right there, because most of the time if I was going to be able to read some of these letters on screen, I figure you need to aim for about a minute and 20 seconds if I'm presuming this correctly. So basically in this minigame is the fact that depends on what radios you're going to be hitting. Basically we need to able to hit the corresponding the rabbit color, because that way you can able to actually take them down. Now I have no idea why I'm doing this the wrong method, because I have no idea how I'm truly trying to able to go for this stuff. So either way though, yeah, I'm pretty sure you do need to definitely need to hit all of the corresponding colored rabbits during the forms of the radio boxes. So either way, I'm pretty dang sure because of how the fact that, well, that's how it goes basically. So yeah, let's go ahead and hit the red ones here, so that way we can able to nunchuck. What's going on with my nunchuck today? It's just trying to glitch out whenever I was trying to take down the half portion of those rabbits right here. Maybe at some point in the next video, I should probably try to fix this, but most of the time my nunchuck just always goes all flip out, which, until whenever we get to the next set of Let's Plays in the future, most notably with Epic Mickey, we've been especially noticeable with specifically Okami if it's possible, and also the same applies to, I would say, well, of course, being the forms of, well, despite the fact that Piglet has already done for Rabbids Go Home ever since during the forms of 2018, and at least even then, though, he didn't come across into a nunchuck control stick issue, but for me, I was having pretty much dumb luck with all these nunchuck issues most of the time these days. Well, sure enough, it has been shown out throughout the whole entire years, especially ever since then, but I digress. So now we've actually access to this next mini game that is usually going to be opened up in any moment. And then before we do that, however, though, we'll have to take care of the forms of the dancing mini game first before we deal with this kind of stuff. So just like usual. So anyways, let's see what we got here for the dancing mini game department. So again, there's not much else we can able to discuss upon this, sadly though, but oh, bunnies are fantastic dancers part 2. So I'm guessing with part 2 in this case, we have to come across into the exact same musical tracks all over again, except the fact that the major difference is now is that it just makes things a little bit more tricky and difficult, because think of like Dance Dance Revolution games or something like that, when you start from easy to normal to hard or super hard or even very hard mode or something like that. Because basically that the more you play them, depending on what difficulty you're going to be selecting during Dance Dance Revolution games, then it will start to able to actually just to get a little bit difficult. And that could be also same applies for Guitar Hero series as well, which even then are something worth mentioning. So yeah, basically, much like before, we need to aim for 750 points, and as you can see on that particular meter gauge, I accidentally messed up on the third section, because most of the time my controls didn't seem to able to work out as much as it used to be, but even then I don't really care about it too much though, because even then we can still able to proceed to the actual dancing sequence. At least thankfully, my nunchuck, or my Wiimote rather, just does manage to work, unlike the forms of how it does on the beginning of the Let's Play, because most of the time, as I said this before, I'm gonna be start complaining about my nunchuck for the majority of this Let's Play, unfortunately. But don't worry though, until Rayman Raving Rabbids 2, as well as Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party, depending on the forms of what season are we in, basically we don't have to deal with the forms of glitched up nunchucks most of the time, or else there are some several other occasions that we might able to come across into one eventually whenever we do some other sort of Let's Plays, mainly with let's just say Epic Mickey 2 for example, and especially noticeable with I would classify for saying, well, I don't know actually, because even then though, that it's been such a quite a while since I did manage to able to touch this game again. Well, At least ever since during the forms of last weekend or something like that. Specifically last Sunday, and even then though of that, we're actually getting pretty close towards the end of this particular game almost. But aside from everything else though, basically as I said this before, this is the leap day today. Because if you couldn't tell, because we're on 2020, so that means until, let's just say in the next 5 months, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics will start. So even then though, that way I'm really looking forward to it. Especially that we can really looking forward to the next Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games new Let's Play for the time in the future. Specifically, with the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games for the Nintendo Switch, obviously. So, but I digress. So let's move on to the final mini-game in day number 8. And it appears to be Bunnies Never Strike Gold. And it's basically another shooting fest kind of mini-game, except it's going to take place in a different environment. Although, kind of thing about it, it's going to take place in a Wild Western kind of feel to it once again, except in a different part this time. So either way though, everything else to be expected. So anyways, let's try and take down these some more Rabbids here. And son of a biscuit. So yeah, unfortunately, seemingly to say for this point, guys, there's not much else I can usually try to speak of at this point in time, because unfortunately, seemingly to say that when it comes to the forms of other sort of Nintendo Directs, yes, we're going to keep on mentioning about this for the majority of this year so far, that it's been about 178 days since the last general Nintendo Direct since September 2019, and we still haven't heard anything new about it, which I'm sure enough that we are still quite literally rusty for the majority of the beginning of this, because for God's sakes, that until tomorrow, that we're actually going to be approaching on to the 3rd month of 2020 so far, specifically when it comes to the forms of well, specifically on March. So even then, I'm expecting that tomorrow will still be uploading. I'll still be uploading this for now on until tomorrow, and especially noticeable on Tuesday and Thursday that Piglet might able to get back onto Yoshi's Crafted World. And then on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that there's going to be a new Let's Play at some point or another, or to be more specifically, the next redo Let's Play. By the way, if you activate that radio box, as you can see right there, you can able to actually distract those Rabbids by simply make them dance and stuff, and then that way you can able to shoot them from here, so something's worth mentioning. So yeah, I can't even believe about the fact that we're actually on the final day of February at this point, because, well, despite any forms of in last year, as well as in 2018 and 17, that normally we did have ourselves 28th as in the final day of for that specific year, but then now we actually ended up on a leap year ever since in 2012, 2016, and now we're on 2020, which I think it'll do that again at some point in 2024 until roughly about 4 years time. So either way, though, something's worth mentioning, by the way. So anyways, let's take down these Splinter Cell Rabbids here, so that way we can able to get these guys down and over with. And hopefully, no sort of coincidence or no major issues from here, so even then, at least despite with some technical props with my nunchucks occasionally, but yeah, you probably get the idea of how I'm truly going to be keep on explaining about that specific scenario, so yeah, they get the drill. So anyways, let's see what's in here. I'm pretty sure those boxes might not contain anything, so I'm pretty sure I might as well skip those. So yeah, I guess that makes it obvious. So yeah, just like the forms of how it does it in well, in Yoshi's Crafted World Let's Play so far, that Piglet he was going to be still carry on doing. Unfortunately though, the actual commentary process might be still continuing, as we still have pretty much a bad cough at the moment, but at least we did it a little bit more better than the forms of how it does it on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday last week, because, or in this case, during the forms of the entire weekday, because we missed out on 3 days of uploading schedules, because, well, as far as I can tell, when it comes to this Let's Play so far, the views count has actually gone a little bit more higher. Oh, really? I've got a broken plunger. Thanks a lot, you random item pickup. Whatever. At least we did manage able to actually shoot some more of those Rabbids, if you can clearly tell. And once again, we need to save baby glow box, as you can see. So naturally speaking, there's not much anything else different about it, apart from the fact that we're doing the exact same stuff over and over again, but in a, you know, in a different environment. And this is where the actual, the shooting range can get a little bit slightly difficult than last time, just because there's going to be a lot more stronger variations of those Rabbids, mainly with these guys right there, that have like metal armors and stuff like that. Specifically, we need to aim for a certain amount of hits on these guys, and then, as usual, oh Christ. Oh, that was really close. Especially noticeable that we just keep on getting hit most of the time at the end. So, there we go, guys. That pretty much takes care of from that, and I think I've actually lost count of how much baby glow box that we did manage to save. I'm pretty sure we've rescued for about 6 of them, if I recall. So even then, yeah, that's the 6th one. So either way, I believe, seemingly to say, is that day number 8 has been entirely accomplished. So either way, once again, we get ourselves the next plunger. In this case, the 8th plunger, as far as you can clearly see on the specific parts. So yeah, I believe we're now moving on to day number 9, which I'm pretty sure we've got enough time to do that day, but you know. So now we ended up on day number 9 right now, so let's go ahead and change into a different outfit for the sake of that day. Let's go for Gothic, which I think will make it a little bit more wicked, and even the forms of like, let's just say a rocker kind of scenario or something like that. I haven't really explained that much of it though. But anyways, let's begin with day 9. So either way, I'm pretty sure we're getting quite close towards the end actually. So either way, that I can't believe the actual let's play of this will able to slowly come towards the end. So yeah, you most likely get the idea for that. So let's begin with, as usual, some more of the mini games that we're able to actually just to go through. Now I don't know if we might able to do the next race in day number 9, but even then we got ourselves some more crowded Rabbids than ever before, so either way we're able to actually expect that. So either way though, let's get into it with the first mini game on day number 9. So let's see how we can able to bring us to. I don't know if there's any part 2 variants of it at the moment until the dancing portions. So anyways, bunnies can shear sheep, so even then get 400 points by shearing sheep. So basically we need to point at the Wii remote with the sheep and then flick the nunchuck to do some cutting and stuff. And aside from all that stuff though, I think that's as far as I can say about it. So once again we have to get a lot of emphasis on avoiding any of those Rabbids, because I don't know if you accidentally just manage to shift the Rabbids, well, I'm pretty sure you get kicked out immediately or something like that, or lose points. I really don't know seemingly to sure, because I haven't really tested it out for myself. But even then, if you do manage to shave off the, well, of course, the actual, the sheep's wool, or the actual fur, you're able to actually get 20 additional points or something like that, which you definitely recommend doing that, because that way you can able to catch up upon 400 points at minimum. So either way though, that way we can able to actually aim for that specific, you know, the amount of points that we can able to reach for. So yeah, that's how it goes basically with this mini game. So it's pretty simple and self-explanatory, unless if you're trying to be a little bit accurate with the Wii remote's aiming, and especially noticeable with keep on flicking the actual the nunchuck kind of way. I don't know about the forms of the PS2 version or the Xbox 360 version's differences are, but then again I haven't really looked upon it too much when it comes to those two versions specifically, when it comes to you know, just different control types, you know. So either way, that takes care of that mini game, and now let's move on to the next 3 until we unlock the 5th one on day number 9. So either way, not much anything else to say about this here, so but I digress. Oh, by the way, with these costumes right there, the one I'm wearing right now, I think I'm kind of familiar with that particular costume, because any forms of, well, I'll explain more about later, bunnies don't like being shot at, so aim 2,500 points by hitting the bunny as many times as possible, and then basically you would get points that you need to aim at its face. So either way though, that's all you have to do here, so But then again though, we do have to get a lot of emphasis on the time limit thing, and I think the actual target is moving on the figure 8 kind of formation, so even then there's everything else to be expected. So anyways, let's go and aim on his face. However, there's one thing I have to admit though right away, by the forms of this minigames, that I feel like the controls wasn't exactly particularly accurate for me though. It's just that you have to be able to hold down the Wii, you have to hold down the A button rather, and at the same time you need to flick the Wii remote forward until you're able to actually toss the actual plunger at the actual bunny's face, which I found is a little bit awkward, but either way though, it's a nice little distraction I suppose. So there we go, 2 minigames are down, and only, well, 2 more to go. Well, technically 3, because of, you know, the one in the center on the actual black gate. So, at least expecting that much, so... Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to minigame number 3 on day number 9. So let's see what we got here this time around. We have... Bunnies have a great ear for music. Find I can't really pronounce that specific letters, by the way. We need to aim for about 900 points specifically. So, yeah, when you have to able to aim with the Wii remote and then press A to zoom in, then obviously flick the nunchuck just to slap them whenever they don't pay attention. Okay, if you probably did not know already, much like Bunnies Cant's Light minigame, this minigame only took me 10 attempts once again. Except the only difference is this time is that I felt this minigame to be quite stingy when it comes to likely just to find out who the real Rabbids that's trying to not pay attention to. Although the good thing about it though is the fact that if the actual one of those Rabbids can able to point things out who's going to be not paying attention to, then it obviously tells you he's supposed to slap them. So either way, then again, as I said before, we need to aim for about 900 points specifically in order to actually complete this minigame, so it's not too bad if you get the hang of it though, but I swear, every time whenever I try to able to hit the correct Rabbid, sometimes I always get confused most of the time, because most of the time, it just always goes up, come across as like pretty random. Luckily, we do have a zoom in option, so that way we can able to see, oh, one off, 1 point, and we didn't actually make it, so, whew, that was close for that one. But imagine how the fact that if I did somehow screwed over on this minigame with by 1 point off, then I will be pretty damned by that, so. But luckily though, that's not the case here, but sometimes it gets a lot of practice. I do have to get a lot of usage of this minigame though, because then again, you have to able to actually just to do with a lot of motion controls kind of scenario, like for instance, like aim with the Wii remote and then just press A if you're trying to zoom in into any of those Rabbids. Then basically you just have to slap them every time you do so. So either way, I think that's as far as we can say about this minigame though. So this minigame is alright, but then again it's not my kind of favorite or anything like that. My favorite ones will have to be the ones at the very beginning actually, because you have to run right near to the finishing line and then before the actual bomb explodes. That almost kind of reminds me like in some sort of like an on-rails kind of segment from Sonic and the Secret Rings, except, well, this game came out first before Sonic and the Secret Rings, so excuse me, I got something in my throat there, but I digress. So anyways, we can now access the forms of this particular door right now, but of course before we take on the forms of the next big minigame, let's go and take on the forms of the dancing minigame before we do anything, so. Because yeah, just like before. And this time we have Bunnies Love Disco Dancing Part 2, which means that it's more likely a continuation of the exact same song as before. And ever since in day 2, I believe. So anyways, let's just make sure if that my nunchuck doesn't go completely flip out or anything like that. At least I hope so anyway. So yeah, another thing that's worth mentioning though is the fact that Cap King 74 has still continued things on with Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle Let's Play so far, and he did manage to go through the forms of the halfway point on World 1 already. So either way, that I'm not exactly sure how many parts he's going to be doing for this throughout, but I'm pretty sure that Piglet has already mentioned about this before, since Yoshi's Crafted World Let's Play, that if I were guessing correctly, that he would able to go through all 4 main worlds. Spoiler warning for those who have not played the game before. Well, I'm not going to explain things too much details about this, because I'm pretty sure if you already know about that, because Piglet has already told us about this ever since in you know, Yoshi's Woolly World's Let's Play, so you know. But then again, what makes the huge differences between this minigame than the likes of how it does it, or in part 2 essentially, is the fact that there's going to be a lot of timing notes to able to actually get good timing with, so that way you can able to actually get a lot of good points to this throughout. And it looks like so far we're not doing that bad actually, despite with all these mistimed notes or anything like that, or even in this case, the actual gauge is slowly depleting itself. But apart from those side of things though, it's not too bad or anything like that. It's just that you guys get a lot of usage on the forms of, well, with motion controls aside. So, whilst compared to the PlayStation 2 version and the Xbox 360 version, you have to simply just utilize with the analog sticks or something like that, so. But to me, I don't mind the actual Wii version specifically, just for the sake of the forms of, like, the only reason I've got this is because of trying to complete the actual original trilogy of the Rayman, Raving, Rabbids games, basically, for my entire collection. Because, well, as I said before, I wasn't overly keen on travel in time, to be honest with you, because apart from the fact that it's all emphasis on time traveling, but the actual Rabbids series got good again ever since, well, in Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, because that game is like super fun and then just like super entertaining with all this humor and stuff like that. But even then though, as far as new forms of likely in 2010 all the way up to, I would say in 2016 if I would assume, it might go a little bit downhill when it comes to Rabbids series in my opinion, because, well, it wasn't until in 2017 came around that Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle came out, and then, well, they got highly praised, so, which I honestly appreciated, because even then, I always intend to enjoy Rayman, Raving, Rabbids trilogy of games, as well as Rabbids Go Home, and even recently Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, so either way, I want to classify that when it comes to my reactions on Rabbids series as a result. Oh, we have a different minigame now. Bunnies only fly downwards, so pass through all of the rings in less than a minute and 40 seconds. So basically, we need to aim with the Wii remote and then just accelerate with the control stick. So think of like how it did on these skydiving sequences in, let's just say, on Wii Sports Resort, as well as The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, except, well, we have to bypass through all these rings. I kind of wish I can able to add that sound clip somewhere, because that particular sound clip is almost like intimidating almost. So yeah, basically in this minigame, as you can see, we need to bypass through all the rings. You know, it kind of reminds me of Superman 64, the worst game that existed, except, well, of course, we're going to be taking control of Rayman, and oh, darn it, it looks like I keep messing things up, so let's try this again. I could have wished I was going to be able to do this within the first attempt, but sadly because some of my controls just sometimes messes up, so. Or maybe because I keep on getting used to with Wii Sports Resort skydiving sequences, as well as the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword skydiving sequence, except the fact that, well, this is the early days of the Wii rather than just on 2011 era or something like that, so, but I digress. Basically, this minigame is just pretty simple. We need to bypass all of the rings, and then every time you bypass one of them, you get time penalty. Think of like how we did on the actual alpine skiing events from the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games series, except with the early days of the Wii controls, because, well, I'm pretty much used to with the forms of alpine skiing events type of controls ever since the journey forms of, well, of course, being the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, basically. But as soon as you reach for that specific amount of time, then you would able to actually finish the minigame just like so. Yeah, it's a little bit short, just like the forms of how it does it on the racing events, basically, but either way, though, it doesn't really overstay or welcome or anything like that, so. At least this minigame is a little bit different, though, which I honestly appreciated with that specific stuff, and there's no baby glow box on this minigame either, because even then, That's all I can really say about it. So either way, we've now managed to able to get ourselves the 8th plunger. So wait, this is the 9th plunger, isn't it? I keep thinking of day number 8, but this is day 9. But of course, day 9 is already over. But you know. And with that being said, we're now on to day number 10, which unfortunately we don't have enough time for it. So let's go and change back into the original Rayman here from now on, and then yeah, we're able to end things off here. So join me next time on Let's Play Rayman Raving Rabbids. It's the fact that we're going to be hit on to day number 10 and probably day 11 as well. So see you guys tomorrow. Later, fellas.